to see you all here. Jazakallah khair. Let a few of you just still connect with your audio. And those of you who want to come on camera, you're more than welcome to do so. It'd be great to have you on camera if you can. Yes, Hannah, mashallah. Great to see you here, Hannah, as always, mashallah.
Ustadh Akhtar, do you think they noticed I was missing for 2 days?
You had record numbers when you weren't here, Ustadh.
I didn't get any messages that, where are you, Ustadh? It makes me feel like they don't miss me.
I told them that you were coming today, and only half the people have come.
Okay, mashallah. So please do contact your friends and relatives, you know, anybody who's here. This is the most, in many ways, this is the most important session where we speak about what we learn from Hajj, the kind of universal lessons of these great acts of worship. It's one of the pillars of Islam. So imagine doing the pillars of Islam and not being aware of what the main lessons from performing this pillar of Islam is. So please do let your friends, relatives know, remind them, make sure they come online.
Yeah, great. Yeah, please do that. And just a reminder, we are streaming live on YouTube. So parents, if you're okay with your children being superstars on YouTube, then they can keep their cameras on, inshallah. And just a reminder, we do like you to rename yourselves. So it will show you how to do that on the screen shortly. You just put your name and ideally your year group or something like that. Unless we know you, like Hannah, we like your stars after your name, so you don't have to change anything there.
Have you seen Hannah's like lovely garden with the kind of this outdoor, what is that? Is that a roof or a shed or a patio or something like that? I wish I had one of those.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
Yeah. Mashallah.
Mary's not looking too happy. She looks a bit grumpy, I think, because she's been told she has to come. Okay. Where's Talha looking cool? Talha Nois, year, was that year 13? I think year 1 and 3. Okay, mashallah.
Year 1 and 3, I think, rather than 13. Otherwise, he'd be 24 years old.
Okay, mashallah. Excellent.
So, good. We're just going to give another minute or so for those who are just logging in, Ustadh.
Yeah,
Stay
sure.
with us, inshallah. And those of you listening on YouTube, it's great to have you here. Jazakallah khair. Remember, we'll be conversing over the YouTube chat as well. So any questions or any interactions you have, you can do it by that. This is day 3 of the Quran story time on the story of Hajj. And Hajj is as we spoke about yesterday, maybe 5 or 6 weeks to go before Hajj. So not too long to go, really, around the 7th of July. So yeah, 6 weeks or 5.5 weeks to go, inshallah, before Hajj. And as we spoke about yesterday, those of us who don't get to go Hajj, then alhamdulillah, will be people that will be, inshallah, fasting on the day of Arafah, which will be a long fast. So make sure you drink lots of water the day before, inshallah, but we'll speak about that or remind everyone closer to the time, inshallah. But look, Ustadh, I think we have most of the people who were here yesterday here back again, which is great to see them all. And we have Ustadh Sohail back, who hasn't been with us for the last 2 sessions. So it's great to have you back. Welcome back, Ustadh. Jazakallah khair.
It's great to be back. It certainly did miss everybody here. I know you had Ustadh Naif, one of our guest speakers, and Ustadh Akhtar. So you've not lost out in any way. If anyway, you've had a much better experience, alhamdulillah. But I'm so glad to be back. So glad to see you all, and thank you for making the time. It always motivates us and makes us happy when you see all these young people coming back and showing their commitment to learning the deen of Allah. Okay, Ustadh Akhtar, shall we start?
Yeah, let's hear. And just to recap what we did for Ustadh, because I know you weren't here, just for on Monday we had Ustadh Naif, and he spoke about Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail and the story behind that. And then yesterday we kind of like delivered a real life session on how to do Hajj, all of the different stages of Hajj. And I think today you're going to connect maybe all of those things together for us and a bit more.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah, nabiyana Muhammad, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. So if we can have the PowerPoint up, please. Yes, now, if we just go back to slide 1. Now, this is something unique. You're not going to see it anybody else, because this is a PowerPoint which I made with the help of a young brother Hamza, who's a doctor in Norbury. This is a PowerPoint that I made from my Hajj journey in 2006, 2007. So you're not going to find this on YouTube or any other place. This is actually real life pictures that we took while we were on this Hajj journey.
But you look older in the picture than you do now.
Yeah, I look older there. I was about to say I look a lot younger, but actually I don't. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, inshallah, let's move on. Bismillah. Yes, so the Hajj is a once in a lifetime journey, and it's supposed to be a journey of change. So you've got to make sure that when you go for the Hajj, you go not just with the intention of seeing these great scenes and seeing these great places and having these great experiences. It's supposed to reform and change your life. When you look at all the pillars of Islam, some of the pillars of Islam are physical, like Salah. Some of the pillars of Islam are more financial, such as Zakah. The Hajj is the one pillar of Islam which is so comprehensive. It involves every aspect of the person's life. It's financial, it costs a lot. Now, I don't know if you guys got any concept of money and how much things cost, but nowadays a Hajj can easily cost £9,000 or £10,000. Now, it was not that that expensive in the old days. You know, back in 2000 was the first time I made Hajj, and I made Hajj with one of the top companies, and I paid £1,750. £1,750. That same company now charges around £11,000. So it's incredible how expensive Hajj is. You have to spend a lot of money for it, and you have to save up for it. Some of the people you see on Hajj have saved up all their life to come to this one place. And in Mecca, you're going to see people who are Meccan, who speak Arabic, and they're from all parts of the world. Because in the past, in their grandfather's generation or their great-grandfather's generation, people used to come for Hajj, and they basically just settled down in Mecca. They never used to go anywhere. They just used to stay in Mecca. So it's a pillar of Islam which involves spending a lot of money. It involves a lot of physical effort. It's physically draining. It's exhausting. And it spiritually takes a lot out of you, and it gives you a lot as well. So every one of us should have the intention of making Hajj at least once in our lifetime, and it's become so expensive. Maybe you'll only get the one chance. Now, I know Ustadh Akhtar has been to Hajj more times than he's had hot dinners, because alhamdulillah, he was one of the volunteers of Hajj. Ustadh Akhtar, do you even know how many times you've been Hajj?
Only once every year.
Only once a year. Only once a year he goes. Okay, mashallah. Okay, let's move on. Bismillah. Okay, so at the center of the masjid, you'll see Al-Kaaba, and the Kaaba is covered by this special black and gold cloth, which is known as the Kiswa. And I actually visited the factory where they make the Kiswa, and it's kind of gold thread. Now, this is the center for the Muslim world. This is the direction for prayer for all Muslims. And it's a symbol of unity, that wherever you are in the world, all Muslims are facing the same direction for prayer. So around the Kaaba, people are facing all directions, because this is now the center where everyone faces. Now, this unity is reflected in the seven heavens, because if you go above the universe, through the heavens, to Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur, which is the frequented house, this is where the angels make tawaf. Just like we make tawaf in the dunya, the angels above the seven heavens, they're making tawaf in a special place just like us, which is known as Bayt al-Ma'mur. So this Kaaba is a symbol of unity. It's a symbol of Islam. It's a symbol of strength. It's a symbol of spirituality, that even people who are not from a Muslim background, when they look at this scene, they're in awe. They're in awe of the spectacle. They're in awe of the fact that, look at all these people, how devoted they are. And they've all come to this one place, and it's the same place they face when praying in any part of the world. Okay, Bismillah, let's move on. Now, yes, let's go to the next one. We've already spoken about that. Now, it goes back to the time of Ibrahim and Ismail around 5,000 years ago. Now, the actual bricks and the kiswa, they're obviously not from 5,000 years ago. Yeah, many times in history, the Kaaba has been destroyed by flooding or you know, some kind of natural disaster, and they've had to rebuild it. But you know, the actual structure and the place that has been that where the Kaaba is, that goes back 5,000 years. Okay, let's move on. Now, every year there's around 3 to 4 million people from around the world who come to make Hajj. Now, this year it could be even more. Now, does anybody on the call here today have somebody in their family or relatives who is going to make Hajj? Can we have a look, Ustadh Akhtar? Has anyone got their hands up? Is anyone waving? Has anyone got? Yeah, who's waving?
Shazadi Hafsa Bilkis has got their virtual hand up.
Okay, could you tell us who's going Hajj from your family then? Are you able to?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather's going Hajj. Is he going alone or is he taking someone with you?
Oh, he's been before. He's not going.
Oh, he's been before. Okay, is anyone going there? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think that's Hafsa, so thank you very much. Is anybody actually got someone from their family who's going next week or the week after to Hajj?
Not today, no.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's getting more and more expensive and difficult even. There's fewer visas. You can't even just, I can't just decide, yeah, I want to go and just get on a plane. You have to have a visa, special permission to go Hajj, and it's getting more and more difficult. So if you get the opportunity, never say no. Okay, never say I'm not ready, it's not the right time, I'm not prepared. If you get the opportunity, grab it with both hands because it's really, really difficult. Okay, let's move on. Now, when you go to Hajj, you'll be shocked to see that every type of language, every type of complexion, every type of skin color, you're going to see from all around the Muslim world. And it's very, it raises your morale and it raises your spirits, because sometimes you can feel in the minority, sometimes you can feel isolated. But when you go to Hajj, you see all these people, all people who believe, all people who are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it makes you appreciate the universality of Islam, that this is a religion for all people from all backgrounds. Okay, let's move on. Now, here's some Muslims from Kazakhstan. Okay, some of you might know there's some comedians who, you know, go on about Kazakhstan, but I was quite surprised to find the actual Muslims from Kazakhstan. I didn't even know it was a Muslim country. So there'll be parts of the world you'll see where you didn't even realize it was a Muslim country, or you never even realized there were Muslims in that part of the world. Okay, let's move on. Now, this is the famous area of the Sa'i, where people walk up and down, commemorating Hajar, the wife of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when she was looking for water for her son Ismail. And I'm sure Ustadh Akhtar spoke about that yesterday. Okay, let's move on. Now, it's very important to understand that if you want to know what the kind of spirit of Hajj is, or what the anthem of Hajj is, you can understand by reading the Talbiyah. So as soon as a person reaches the miqat is a special place after which you have to be in a state of ihram. If you go past this point and you're not in a state of ihram, you will actually have to make a sacrifice, a sacrificial animal. So this miqat, for people coming from the UK, it's kind of roughly over the Red Sea when you cross Egypt, and just around half an hour before you land. That's the miqat boundary for people coming from Europe. Now, once you cross this point, men have to be wearing their ihram, and all the rules of ihram apply to men and women. Now, at that point, you start making talbiyah. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك La sharika lak. And the translation of that is, here I am, O Allah, here I am. There is no partner for you, here I am. Verily, all praise is for you, and every good thing is from you, and yours is the kingdom. You have no partner. This really sums up the essence of Hajj. We are going to this place which is very difficult, very hot. It's just like a valley and mountains, and it's rock and it's desert. And we're all going to that place. Nothing grows there. All because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us. And Allah ordered us 5,000 years ago with the Prophet Ibrahim. And to this day, we are obeying the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his call to make Hajj. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now men, this is Hamza, who took a lot of the pictures. Men, they have to wear these two simple pieces of white cloth. There can be no stitching, and they can only wear sandals. They can't wear any hats. Now, this is a real symbol of unity, that it doesn't matter what kind of background you're from, how expensive your hotel room is, how rich you are, if you're a famous celebrity. And actually, the last time I went Umrah, I did see one of the famous Muslim celebrities, the small guy, Hezbollah. Yes, Hezbollah. You know that small guy? He's a really funny guy. Looks like a kind of child, but he's not actually a child. He has a special condition. I kind of saw him in a McDonald's, you know, he was just chilling, ordering some McDonald's, and I gave him salam. You know, it doesn't matter. Whoever you are, you have to wear these simple white pieces of cloth, which means you can barely tell the difference between anyone. Okay, let's move on. Okay, it's very important that the pilgrims learn self-control. All pilgrims must avoid argumentation and any obscene behavior, any fighting. And in fact, they're not even allowed to harm any animals or cut down any trees. They cannot go hunting. So you can't go hunting on Hajj with your spear and your bow and your arrow if you're thinking of doing that. And it's a time of peace. It doesn't feel sometimes peaceful because so many people, but it's amazing that there's so many people in a small space with just a few police and just a few soldiers, but somehow the peace is kept and people are moving around performing the rites of Hajj without really much difficulty at all. Okay, let's move on. Now, everyone has to stay in a place called Mina during the Hajj or the days of Hajj from the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th of Hajj. And Mina is very basic, simple style white tents. Now, there might be a mattress, there might be some, like a fan, and there might be some collection of basic food, but it's supposed to be really simple. And in the old days, people used to just literally be staying in tents or out in the open. So again, it doesn't really matter how rich you are. You have to go to the same place and you have to stay in the same type of place. Now, here you do find some differences. So you will find some nationalities, their tents are more stylish, more luxurious, but ultimately it's not comfortable for anybody. And you might have to be walking a long way to get to the tents in the first place. Okay, let's move on. Now, there's a little bit of running water and there's some portable toilets in Mina, but it's really, really basic. So if anybody's been camping, it will feel a lot like that. Okay, let's move on. Right, now Arafah is the most important part of Hajj. It's on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Hajju Arafah. The Hajj, or the essence of Hajj, is Arafah. So that day is the most important day. And you have to make sure that before Maghrib, you are at some point standing in Arafah. Some people spend all day at Arafah. So after sunrise, they will travel from Mina to Arafah. And some people will spend all day making dua. The Prophet ﷺ spent hours and hours making dua. Now, some people like to go to the mountain where the Prophet ﷺ stood to make dua, but the Prophet ﷺ made it clear that the whole of Arafah is a place of standing. So wherever you're comfortable, wherever you want to stand, that is a time for making dhikr and dua. Now, if you're one of the people, which we kind of all are, from my question, nobody said that they were actually going Hajj, but if you're not going Hajj, then we also have something different that we can do, which is fasting on the day of Arafah, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. So the Prophet ﷺ said, fasting on the day of Arafah forgives the sins of the previous year and the coming year. So the forgiveness from sins for 2 separate years, yeah, the previous year and the coming year, for fasting on the day of Arafah. This is amazing. So if you can, I know it's a long day, if you can, then you should be fasting on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, okay? Sorry, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. We're not going to fast on the 10th because that is a very special day, right? I'll ask you afterwards what the 10th of Dhul Hijjah is. But the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah, we should be fasting if we can. Now, if you're very, very little, do we have any very little people? I'm not sure. Maybe Zunaira. Okay. If you're very, very little, your parents might say, keep half a fast. Okay, just half a fast. But try your best if you can, as long as you can, as much of the day as you can to fast, inshallah. Okay, let's move on. Bismillah. Okay, now this point on the day of Arafah, when everyone is standing and making dua for hours and hours, when the sun comes down and it becomes like Maghrib time, for many people, they say it feels like the coming of the Day of Judgment. In the hereafter, when you pass away, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts the day of resurrection, everyone will come out of their graves, and everyone will be standing and looking for the prophets, and everyone will be making dua for the Day of Judgment to start. Just for the Day of Judgment to start, because they will be suffering so much from having stood for thousands of years waiting for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's judgment to start. And they will know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with them on that day. So many people who've been in this situation, they say they feel like this is the closest in this world they've come to experiencing the Day of Judgment. Okay, let's move on. Okay, after sunset, people move to Muzdalifah. Now, if you thought Mina was hard, Muzdalifah is like just a massive car park. There's like nothing there. And if you can just find a little space on the ground to sleep, then you know, you're going to be a happy person. Because for some people, they haven't even got space on the ground to sleep. Some people have to spend the whole night standing up and squashed. So alhamdulillah, you know, this really tests people. You know, if you spend your whole life in luxury and comfort and 5-star treatment, when you go to Muzdalifah, then everyone will be in the same boat, and everyone will be just happy and grateful if they can just find a little patch on the ground where they can lie down. Okay, let's move on. Now, for some people, this used to be the most dangerous part of Hajj, which is stoning of the Jamarat. Now, the stoning of the Jamarat commemorates where Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was ordered to slaughter his son, he was faced by the shaitan who came to him in the form of a man and tried to encourage him not to slaughter his son. And Ibrahim alayhi salam pelted him with stones. So there are 3 Jamarat, the small, medium, and large Jamarat, which they're not actually shaitan, they're symbols of shaitan. So we stone them with small pebbles to symbolize our enmity towards shaitan. Okay, we are supposed to recognize that shaitan is an enemy to us. And we are supposed to recognize that we have to strive against the shaitan. And that's why we do the pelting. Okay, let's move on. Yes, we've spoken about that. So nowadays it's very reasonably safe, because they got a whole system of ramps. And you can see on the left side, when I was there in 2007, they were still constructing the ramp system. But now it's got like different floors, different levels. So it's reasonably safe. You can go in there quite easily. But still, there's an atmosphere. There's a lot of dust in the air. There's a lot of kind of chanting. It does feel really quite intense. Okay. And I guess we should realize then that Islam is not always supposed to be very comfortable. Yeah. When you've got your lovely prayer mats out, or when you're in a really nice mosque, you know, it feels very relaxing. It feels very spiritual. But Islam is not always like that. Sometimes you have to feel the heat, you have to feel the difficulties. And the Hajj definitely gives you that experience. Even if you're in a 5-star hotel, even if you're paying for the top packages, £11,000, £12,000, you're not going to be able to avoid going through these experiences. Everyone goes through the same experience. Okay, let's move on. And once you've finished your Hajj, one of the last things you do is shave off your hair. Well, that's for men. Obviously, girls don't have to shave off their hair. They just cut off, a small kind of, inch or so of their hair. And it can be really hard finding a barber. A lot of people try and do it themselves. Just a few friends near a bin, they try and cut off. And the Prophet ﷺ 3 times made dua for the people who shave their hair. And he made dua once for the people who cut their hair. And this is kind of symbolic of your sins falling away, completely pure, new start. You can see in the picture, even the barber himself has made Hajj and shaved his hair. So inshallah, for the boys, don't be too worried about your hairstyle. Your hair will grow back. Get a complete shave. Go in there and say, number 0, please, all over. And nobody should be asking for fades or anything special. On the Hajj, if you go in there and start asking for a fade and special hairstyles, then there's like a big queue of around 50 people waiting. So nobody's going to give you a special hairstyle or, anything like that. So just go in there, ask for a number 0. In Arabic, it's called mus, the blade. Just ask for the blade and let them get their work done. Okay, let's move on. Now, the tawaf itself, that can feel quite intense, okay? Nowadays, you can only make tawaf on the ground floor if you're wearing your ihram, the white unstitched piece of cloth. Once you finish that and you're wearing your regular clothes, then you'll have to go up on the higher floors. But this, when you look at the universe, everything is orbiting. Yeah, the earth orbits the sun, the moon orbits the earth, the galaxies orbit. Everything is in an orbit moving around, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're doing this tawaf, you feel at peace with the universe. The whole universe is making the tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said in the Quran, سَبَّحَ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Everything in the universe, in the heavens and the earth, is making tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah. So at this point, you really feel at one with the rest of the universe. Okay, let's move on. Now, the black stone, I'm sure the Ustadh has spoken to you that on one corner is the Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone, which is descended from paradise. It came down from paradise white, but with the sins of people, it became a black stone. Now, if you can touch it, it's highly unlikely. As a little person, you'll be able to touch it. But if you can, there is a great reward for that. It wipes away the sins. But if you can't, at least point towards it with your right hand and say Bismillahi wallahu akbar as you start your tawaf. Okay, let's move on. Now, the sa'i, yes, we've already spoken about the sa'i, one of the pillars of Hajj. So let's move on from that. Yes. Now, you don't actually often get to see this, but there is a sacrificing of the animals, which is part of the Hajj, the Udhiyah. Now, that is something we will get involved in here. So if for the people in the Hajj, they call it the Hadi, but for the people who are not making Hajj, we will call it the Qurbani. Nowadays, what most people do will be paying for somebody else to do it. They won't really have the opportunity to go and complete the slaughter themselves. Now, in the last series, we did talk about the Prophet ﷺ, and when he performed the slaughter.
I thought it would be like 100 pounds.
Whoa, before I even asked the question, who was that? Who called out the answer? I've never heard of anyone who called the answer before I even asked the question. So my question was going to be, how many camels did the Prophet ﷺ slaughter in the Hajj? And what was the answer? Who called out?
I'm not sure who called out, but you can type your answer in the chat box, or you can raise your virtual hand and we can listen to you. And that's the answer.
It was the correct answer. Who called? Nobody wants to admit?
I think they're very shy now.
Oh, very shy. Yeah, it was 100. The Prophet ﷺ slaughtered 100 camels. So he ﷺ, with his own hand, subhanAllah, it's amazing. Camel is a huge creature. With his own hand, he slaughtered 63 camels. Yes, Ibrahim Habib, 100 camels he slaughtered, 63 with his own hand, and somebody else from his family slaughtered the remaining 37. Does anybody know which companion from the family of the Prophet ﷺ slaughtered the remaining 37? Think of a companion who's from the family of the Prophet ﷺ.
Was
Let's
it
get- Go
Abu
ahead, Nusayba.
Bakr radiallahu anhu?
Not Abu Bakr, it's good try. Good try.
Umar?
Not Omar, keep going.
And the people in the chat have written Ali.
Shazadi, yes. Hafsa, yes. Ali radiallahu anhu. Ali is the son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ. He's also the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Ali radiallahu anhu, he actually brought the camels from Yemen, and he slaughtered 37, but the Prophet ﷺ in one morning slaughtered 63. And this is very much a symbol of us sacrificing what we love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, one of the secrets of Islam is you have to be prepared to sacrifice. Okay, in this case, we're sacrificing an animal, but in other times, you may have to sacrifice other things as well. Has anybody come across a situation where they've had to sacrifice something for Islam? You can use the chat facility or you can speak yourself. When have you had to sacrifice something?
Just whilst they're doing that, you might need to turn your camera the other way because we've got 90 degrees on us.
All right,
There you
okay.
go. So Abdullah has written in the chat box directly to me for some reason, time to pray. So I had to sacrifice when I wanted.
And what does Abdullah sacrifice when it's time to pray?
No, Abdullah, you want to come off mute?
So Abdullah, what do you sacrifice when it's time to pray?
Time?
Time, yeah. And I guess it's more about sacrificing the things that you were doing at the time, you know? You might have been watching a game of football, you might have been playing PlayStation, you might have been doing something different, and you need to sacrifice that to pray. Now, it might look like a small thing for some people, but it is a big thing because, you know, all of us, when we're doing things which we enjoy and which are fun, we don't like to be disturbed. So that's a big sacrifice. Anybody got any other examples there where we have to sacrifice?
Yeah, let's hear from Nusayba.
Go ahead, Nasiba.
Well, it's not about me, but I was going to say that our mothers have to sacrifice a lot of their time and like a lot of their time for us to take care of us and do everything for us that they do.
That's a really good example because we often take that for granted, isn't it, what mothers do? And mothers, they have to make big sacrifices. Now, it's natural that they would do that. Allah put that instinct within them, but still we should appreciate it and we should recognize that Allah will reward them for doing that. Okay, inshallah, so we're going to stop here. That summarizes some of the main lessons from Hajj. So when you're going out there, it can feel like, how comes I'm doing these things? It just doesn't make any sense. How comes I'm going around the Kaaba 7 times? How comes I'm going to this place to stone these walls? How comes I'm doing this sacrifice? How comes I'm walking up and down 7 times for the sa'i? But there is always a wisdom why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders you to do things. Now, we might not always know the wisdom. We're not supposed to always know the wisdom, but we have to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said at the end of Surah Al-Baqarah about the believers, وَقَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. They say, we hear and we obey. وَقَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. So whether you understand the wisdoms behind these great acts of worship in Hajj or you don't understand the wisdom, you still have to perform these acts of worship. And the same is in our everyday lives. The same is when it comes to prayer. The same is when it comes to fasting. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا. هذا وصلى الله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Ustadh Akhtar, I think it's time for the favorite time now.
Yeah, it is. Jazakallah khair. Brilliant session there. Jazakallah khair. Okay, everyone, let's see Nusayba's got a question. Let's just see if she's got a question about something that we spoke about first.
Yes.
It's actually a question about yesterday's session. I forgot to ask, but you know how you were mentioning that we have to be in Mina before Maghrib on the first day. What happens if you don't get there before Maghrib, like because of traffic or something like that? What does anything happen?
Yeah, very good. Do you want to say something towards that, Ustadh Sohail, or should I?
No, you go ahead. Stop.
Yeah, so if it's because it's out of your control, like traffic, and you tried your best, then there's no problem with that. And obviously sometimes you've got 3 million people all moving to the same place, that can happen. But if you left late or you were a little bit lazy, then you would arrive, but you might have to give a sacrifice. But the example you gave, because of traffic or because of congestion, then no problem. Allah's merciful in that regards, and you just carry on.
Yeah, normally what will happen is your tour operator will organize all of this, so you won't have to worry too much about it. Okay, in that before in the past, Hajj people could do it themselves. Now they really can't do it themselves. They have to be part of a program, organized program. So normally they will take care of this, and you won't have to worry too much about these things. Inshallah.
Yeah, Yumna has a question.
Who?
Go ahead, Yumna.
Yep.
Why can't I put my camera on?
That's not a question that I think we can answer. We're going to have to speak to IT support on that, which we don't have IT support. But I don't know why your camera's not working, Yumna. I'm sorry. Any other questions anybody has about the sessions that we've had before I give you some questions to answer?
Yeah, I think we'll go to the Zoom questions now.
Yeah, let's go straight there. Okay, everybody get ready now. So we're going to have 5 questions for you guys to answer, and we'd love you to have a look at these together. So let's have a look at the first question. And the first question is, where should you start your ihram from for Hajj? Should it be at the Kaaba? Should it be at Mina? Should it be at Muzdalifah? Or should it be at the Miqat? Where should you start your ihram from for Hajj? A, Kaaba, B, Mina, C, Muzdalifah, or D, the Miqat. Those of you on YouTube, you can type in the chat box A, B, C, or D, and we'll have a look at your answers as well, inshallah. Give you another 5 seconds, everybody. 5 seconds left to answer that question, to see what you come up with, A, B, C, or D. Where should we start putting our ihram on for Hajj? Let's have a look at what they said, Ustad. Here's the results. Can you see that? I'll read that to you. So 79% said Miqat, and 1 person said Mina, and 2 people said the Kaaba. Oh, Ustad, you're on mute. Hold on. Why are you on mute? Let me just unmute you. Oh, you. Are you still there, Ustad? You're still on mute. Hold on. Let me see why.
Oh, that's better, I think. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the correct answer is miqat. So it's very, very important. It's one of the most strictest things about Hajj, is that once you reach the miqat, you must be in ihram. Your Hajj has already started there. Okay, it does not start when you reach Mecca. Now, usually, if you're on one of the big flights like Saudi Arabian Airlines or something like that, they will announce it. But some of the smaller flights, they might not announce it. So you have to be aware of where the miqat is and roughly how long before you land you need to have the ihram. Now, if you're going to use the aeroplane toilets to get changed, there could be a big queue. So the wise thing to do is from the airport to put your ihram on, and then just put like a thobe on top. And then when you're ready and you've reached the miqat, then you take the thobe off and you're now officially in a state of ihram. Trying to get changed on the airplane can be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Cool. Let's have a look at question number 2. Well done, everyone who got that right. Question number 2. Where are the tents that you will stay in during Hajj, and from where you start and finish your Hajj? Is it Masjid al-Haram, which is A, B, Mina, C, Muzdalifah, or D, Snowdonia? So where is the 10th that you will start and finish your Hajj? Will it be Masjid al-Haram, A, B, Mina, C, Muzdalifah, or D, Snowdonia? And well done to Ami, who got the right answer for the previous question as well. So if you're on YouTube, you can type in the chat box. Let's have a look at what everybody answered, Ustad. And we have 79% said Mina,
Yeah.
and 3 people said Muzdalifah. So what's the
No,
answer?
it's Mina. Correct answer is Mina. That's where you start your Hajj, and that's where you're also going to finish your Hajj, the white tents. Muzdalifah, you just spend one night.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go over to question number 3. Question number 3. Why is Shaitan so angry and upset on the day of Arafah? Why is Shaitan so angry and upset on the day of Arafah? Is it A, Allah releases more people from hellfire on that day than any other day? B, because it's so hot? C, because he's always angry and upset? Or D, is because he gets pushed around by the crowds? Why is Shaitan so angry on the day of Arafah? A, because Allah releases more people from hellfire on that day than any other day. B, because it's so hot. C is because he's always angry and upset. Or D, because he gets pushed around. You can type your chat in YouTube. You can type your answer in the chat box as well. And let's share the results, Ustad. We have 86% Allah says that Allah releases more people from hellfire on that day than any other day. Is that correct?
Okay, that is correct. This is the day when the Shaitan actually rubs dust on himself because he's worked hard all year. In fact, he's worked hard for the whole lifetime to misguide people, and they come to Hajj, and on this day, Allah forgives them all. So all his hard work has gone down the drain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Let's have a look at question number 4. Question number 4, everybody, is on your screen. What is the special name for going around the Kaaba 7 times anti-clockwise direction, making dua? Is it called the Tawaf? A, B, Tawbah, C, Ta'teem or Ta'zim, and D, Tofu. I can tell you it's not tofu, just in case anybody's thinking of that.
Please.
You gotta give them gotta make it easier for them, Ustad. A, Tawaf, B, Tawbah, C, Ta'zim or Ta'zim, and D, Tofu. Which one is it? Let's have a look at what you guys all put forward. And 94%, almost everybody said Tawaf, Ustad.
Yes, Tawaf is the correct answer, yeah. So going around the Kaaba 7 times is called Tawaf. It has a really complicated name in English. It's called circumambulation. So it's much easier just to call it Tawaf, and that is the kind of Islamic name. Okay, Ustad, let's move on.
Yeah, very good. Well done to everyone. Just going to acknowledge those on YouTube as well, who got the right answer as well. And thank you for responding there. Let's go to our final question. And our final question is, oh, where's my Zoom gone? Here we go. Question number 5. And the final one for today is the following. When you make sa'i, walking between Safa and Marwa 7 times, you start at Safa. So where should you end? Would it be A, Safa, B, Marwa, C, at the Kaaba, or D, in Mina? So when you're doing sa'i, walking between Safa and Marwa, you do it 7 times. If you're starting at Safa, where would you finish? Is it A, Safa again, B, Marwa, C, at the Kaaba, or D, at Mina? And I think we'll split the audience a little bit here, Ustad. I'll give you another 5 seconds, everybody. And those of you on YouTube, you can type in A, B, C, or D. And let's have a look at what everybody said, Ustad. So here's the results. We have 28% said Safa, 61% said Marwa, and 11% said Mina.
Okay, the correct answer is Marwa. If you think about it, when you start at Safa and go to Marwa, that's once. Then you go from Marwa back to Safa, that's twice. And if you do that and count up to 7, you should end up on the opposite side, which is Marwa. So well done to everyone who said the correct answer, Marwa.
Yeah, very, very good. Well done to all of you, mashallah. You did really brilliant. And that comes to the conclusion of this particular session. of the story time, the Quran story time on Hajj, inshallah. We're going to be back in the next holiday break, inshallah, to be able to give you some more sessions throughout the year. And for parents, please do subscribe if you're not already on the Telegram group. So look out for our updates on there as to the upcoming programs that we have throughout the year. Inshallah, we have a full set that will continue throughout the year. And at this moment, I just want to bring everybody's attention to a few events that are coming up for Al-Noor. So the first one is that we have the Al-Noor boat race that is coming up on the 8th of July. So the 8th of July, the Al-Noor boat race, and we'd love you all to come and bring your friends and family. There's going to be, you're going to see all of our great teams of brothers and sisters doing the boat races and raising lots and lots of money for charity, inshallah. So the boat race is on the 8th of July, and 2 weeks later, on the 22nd and 23rd of July, is the Al-Noor Family Fun Day, the festival that's going to be coming up, inshallah. So that's going to be, we're going to have so many fun fair rides, stalls, foods, everything there. We'll post all of these details out on the Telegram group. And then the final one that is just recently, we've just launched, which is our first ever Al-Noor hike. You can see it on the screen. Now this is for just this time, it's for boys only, for fathers and sons or men only. And we're going to do a girls and mothers one soon, inshallah. So this one is taking place in August, on the 18th and to the 20th of August. And this is for a 3-day challenge where we're going to be climbing Mount Snowdon, which is in Wales, one of the highest peaks there. And we have limited spaces. So please have a look at that. If you're interested, come register with your family members, fathers, sons, or just friends can come together, inshallah, and get registered for that, because that is going very, very quickly, inshallah. So those are some of the upcoming events that we have coming on for Al-Noor, as well as the future story time. Okay, with that, then, inshallah, let's finally, for the final time before Eid, actually, we won't see anybody before Eid, unfortunately, right? You'll be back to school, and our next Quran story time is after Eid. So it's kind of like an early Eid Mubarak from us all, and an opportunity for you all to say salams to us. So please come off mute. Let's make sure you can all come off mute. You can. So assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Faris, assalamu alaikum tala.
Alaikum salam. Inshallah.
Good to see everyone here. Wa alaikum salam, mashallah. Very